Okay, precious metals update. This is Saturday night, September 17th. So we'll be reviewing the weekly candle. How do we stand? How do we look in the weekly, in the sort of long-term cycle? It really, there's a lot of chatter on Twitter. Gold is looking at, seven. I think it's seven. Yeah, right. Look at this one, two, three, four, five. So yeah, six red candles in a row on a monthly level. And obviously, the September candle hasn't closed yet. And the September candle opened at 1710. That's important to understand because it means, and this is the CFDs, and I will just take a quick scan at the futures. Again, the prices are definitely, they're definitely off a bit between the futures and the CFDs. But that means this candle opened at just about 1711. Let's call it, which means that's the level we would need to get back to for the month to close out green. And I'll say that just high level as we start with gold. We'll start with the monthly chart. Let's start big picture. You would expect at some point we're gonna get a bounce, right? If we're gonna go significantly lower, like let's say we're going to, going to test this area here, right? And that's not, I'm not saying that we have to test it, but if we are going to test it, we're not going to just cascade lower from here, right? It's going to have to happen, like there's going to have to be some kind of bounce, maybe back up to there. And then we work our way down, right? That's the point, right? Like at some point we're going to get a bounce, and maybe it comes right from here, right? It doesn't have to mean we continue to go lower, but we're not going to just cascade from here down another $100, $150, $200. We're going to get a bounce at some point. And so that's going to be important to understand as we think about where we are in the cycles, right? So long term, month 81 of the long term cycle. And that if you call it a 7-year cycle, that's 84 months. If you call it a 8-year cycle, it's 96 months. So sort of pick your poison. Probably somewhere in between is really where we'll land. The previous long-term cycle was 86, 92 months, 96, 97, 102. So it varies greatly. And again, I'll keep repeating. The top was month 56. That was August 2020. We did not make a higher high this March. That war-fueled rally, it missed it by just about $5 actually. So sort of an epic double top lower high sort of situation. And ever since then, I mean, look at the chart. It's very clear, right? We failed to even get to this level, right? We missed this level by $5 here. And ever since that, we've just been drooping lower. This wick, right, faked like this was a rally, right? On obvious, like that's how it works. A lower time frame rally it happened here within this lower wick. So it was a daily cycle that got folks excited. We consolidated for that next month, and now we've made a lower low. This was an inside month, and then we've made a lower low below all of that. In its sort of most reductionist terms. That's why I love something like the strat, which, I mean, this is a 2-1-2 continuation down to the downside. This is a 2 down. This is an inside candle. That's your continuation. And you even have this upper wick telling you, price came up here and then got rejected, right? That was your false breakout on a lower time frame as well. So it does seem to be hovering ominously over 1440, but again, we would expect a bounce first. So if we look at that daily chart, if we're on day 11, right, and again, so this is very similar to the S&P, and I think that's an important point to all of this, is that there's a lot of correlation at this point, which itself is an indication of stress to the system. I'll say that again. The correlation of assets, the fact that things are moving so tightly together, is itself an indication of stress to the system, right? And so, this is possible that this wasn't your daily cycle low, and this is your daily cycle low in the same way that and you can take a look at the links in the description. Not only will you see some Cycles 101 content, but you can see the broader market update in there as well. And so, possible that in the same way broader markets may be making a daily cycle low that's really late. In this case, maybe we're having a similar kind of thing. So this would be like day 41, 42. And then so we can see some upside from here, which will be interesting. The levels are pretty clear. You'd need to like really cross above 1736. And obviously that's actually quite a bit of a ways from here, which is a perfect illustration of like, let's say, risk reward. Like you need to get above there to even start to prove that you're making higher highs. I mean, and really your first obstacle is going to be getting above this bar at 1690, like really about basically getting above 1700. So about $25 from here. That's not such a big hurdle, but that's a good way to kind of gauge risk, right? Like we need to get above there to have like a pretty confident, let's say, swing low on a daily level. And if we look at the weekly time frame, this appears to be week 8. And again, maybe what we're seeing here is actually a week 39 ICL, right? Like a really extended weekly cycle, right? We'll see. Versus a new weekly cycle that topped out on week 3. We're just going to have to see how this plays out. What we do know is that it's incredibly bearish. It could turn. We've swept out all of these lows, so that's positive. But again, this kind of area still kind of beckons that, and you can imagine we break below this, it would seem like there would be a waterfall from there. And obviously we'll have to see how that plays out in real time. So that's gold. Let's jump over to silver really quickly. I mean, look at silver, man. Woo. This thing is actually starting to show some real strength. So we do have a high on day 7 so far. This is day 8, 9, 10. So Friday was day 11. So Monday will open day 12. And look at that candle. My God, that looks... So that's your saving grace, right? I mean, look, we even kind of kissed the 10-period moving average, which is clearly moving higher. I mean, so, and I talked about this in the previous precious metals video. Again, take a look at the link in the description. We had this big up day, right? September 12th. And everything has been consolidation inside that range since then. And then we had this, like, this is a... And again, like, I don't want to belabor the point, but this is a false breakdown, right? So we made a low below the low of this candle, the big breakout daily candle, and then we just zoomed higher from there, just like completely kind of rejected that level to the upside. That's actually really promising, right? We generally do want to see silver outperforming gold. And so that is actually really, really promising. On day 11 of a new daily cycle, what's really clearly a new daily cycle, whereas with gold, it's like, oh, wait, it's maybe printing a new daily cycle. This is like nowhere near. It's like, oh, wait, no. It definitely left a daily cycle low behind on day 35, which, to be fair, was below the previous daily cycle low, so a failure. So that's really, really interesting. And where that leaves us on the weekly is pretty firmly like, okay, this is a week 31 ICL, I suppose. Silver tends to print ICLs around the 26 to 27 week range. So the idea that it would do one on week 31 does make sense. And of course, in real time, this looked and still could be one, right? Like an ICL. But then we had this like undercut, and it's like, okay, now we've had this follow through. We do have this upper wick, and so we do imagine that we'll open as an inside week next week. Again, we expect to see pressure across markets, so that's not going to help silver's case. But at this point, if we're looking at the monthly candle now, we're definitely well into the range of the August candle to try to get to that 2089 level. So let's see. We're definitely... So silver is your, like, sort of saving grace. Let's see what GDX looks like here. So GDX. So did not quite make a new low like gold, but definitely not as strong as silver by any means. So it was day 10 on Friday. So will be day 11 on Monday. And I mean, just... Certainly better than gold, but not by much, right? Like, didn't quite make a swing low. I mean, didn't quite get that, bullish outside day, which is what it was kind of working on. And most importantly, that week ended red. And if you think about it, best case scenario is kind of opening as an inside week next week after that potential ICL week 31. So not looking super promising, the miners. So again, silver unto itself is looking actually really bullish, which could speak to something kind of idiosyncratic. Either way, it tells you what to be long if you really have to be long something precious metals. And again, I'll just look at Dixie. Always good to look at Dixie when you're thinking about precious metals, commodities, other things like that, hard assets. It does look to be sort of stuck here almost on the weekly level. We have our high on week 14. This definitely looks like it looks like it's setting up for follow through next week. So, and this was week 15. So we're still kind of late in the weekly cycle though. So this will be interesting. Again, all we can really do is watch price action as always. And again, September is month 20 of our of our 3-year cycle, 36 months. So, could still be seeing a lot of upside. We do have to be patient, wait for that monthly swing high to signal we've started the 3-year cycle decline. That's when it's like, put spreads on UUP, for instance. And assuming the charts for other assets that are inversely correlated are starting to wake up, that could be your move there.